Buddha.
What's good, royal family? It's Queen's Throne, and I'm back at you again for an update on the situation that's unfolding in Florida with Pashun Jeffery, the mother that was found deceased inside of her apartment, and the 2-year-old missing little boy named Taylen Mosley. Now, this is a trigger warning case. This mother was brutally murdered inside of her apartment. The murder clearly, far as what the police say, is a very brutal murder, and the 2-year-old child is missing. Now, we don't know what the child saw or who has the child, but this is the day 2 timeline of the case and the situations that unfolded in the case. Now, the first video that I did on this, the timeline has changed just a little bit, so, we'll leave that as that, but there was a press conference that took place at 2 p.m. Eastern, March 31st, and some more information had came out so that we can switch some things in the timeline that were incorrect. Just clarification. Now, these things that came out were from the police department, brought by the news, and then, they appeared in my video as well, as I'm sure others that are talking about this case at this time. Now, this case is very new. As I stated, we are on day 2, and the timeline is Wednesday, March 29th at 5:20 p.m. approximately. Pashun Jeffery, the mother of Taylen Mosley, was last seen with her son by a family member. Wednesday, March 29th at 8:30 p.m. approximately, a neighbor told the police that they heard commotion coming from the apartment around that time. Now, the neighbors did not call the police, but they did indicate that they did hear some type of struggle or commotion around 8:30 p.m. March 29th. Now, on that same day, Wednesday, March 29th at 9 p.m. to 9:15 p.m.-ish, the father of the missing child, Taylen Mosley, arrives to his mother's house, and his hands and his arms are cut up. He then goes to the hospital. He admits himself into the hospital. He is not talking to police. He is a person of interest, and yes, he is still at the hospital because of his wounds. Now, in some of the news clips that have come out, they reference a car that was in front that they were searching. I believe the car was blue. There was a blood trail from the front door of the apartment to the blue car. That should be noted. Now, back to the timeline. Thursday, March 30th at 2:30 p.m. The family members asked the apartment staff for a welfare check on Pashun after they had failed to be able to reach out to her. So the family went to the management of the apartment buildings and asked them, could they open the apartment door, because they had not spoke to Pashun since the day before around 5:30 p.m. Now, when Pashun's mother got entry into the apartment, that is when they discovered her body in the gruesome crime scene. Now, as I stated before, Pashun's body was found in a very violent homicide scene inside of the apartment. The police said that her death was gruesome, but they did not disclose the cause of death. However, like I said, the father of the missing child, Taylen Mosley, went to his mother's house on the 29th around 9 to 9:15 p.m. and showed up to her door with cuts on his arms and hands. And then he admitted himself in the hospital, and he is still there and won't talk to police. Now, these are just some things that since this morning when I found out about this case, I had jotted down. I am interested in any cameras that be in the complex by management or ring doorbells or any other camera nearby that could have gotten some type of indication of what went on here. Also, was there any use of force on the apartment door? Was it open or was it locked? I would say that probably it was not open because they had to gain entry. I'm pretty sure the family possibly had gotten into the apartment building, was able to get to the door, but not through the door, and that's why they asked the management for a welfare check. But was the door showing any indication of somebody breaking in or any type of foul play? And was the door locked? Now at this time, it seems pretty apparent that possibly her baby's father had stabbed her up. A lot of the times in cases, people do have wounds where they repeatedly stab somebody else to death. They can get cuts on their arms and hands because the activity is them moving very fast, acting out of aggression or passion, anger, whatever you want to call it. Now, earlier this morning, the police had said that the father of Taylen did not have the child. They did not disclose his name or where he lives. He is a person of interest for questioning, and I can understand that based on him being the father of the child and the events of his hands getting cut up, and if that's the way that the victim, Pashun, had died in the apartment from stab wounds, that, you know, could be pretty telling. Now, it's unknown if there's any evidence on the father. It is stated that the child lived with the mother, so the mother did have sole custody or main custody of the child. But we will find out more about any visitations, etc. going forward. Because at this time, I kind of want to know, did the mother and the father, the victim and the child's father, have any type of negative interaction as far as domestic abuse or anything like that in the past? Is this an isolated incident or is this a regular occurrence? Now, I didn't hear any talk about possibly her cell phone or maybe even the child's father's cell phone in this situation, but the police will get information that they need based off of pings and other things involving the cell phone. Some of the things, if there is some type of locking mechanism, could take a little bit longer, but text messages and things like that could be made public very shortly here. Now, there is a body of water right by the complex. I believe it's behind the complex. I'm not sure what side it's on, but they are checking the lakes and ponds with dive teams. They are reportedly getting dogs out there to aid in the search of finding Taylen. They did remove a dumpster, a garbage dumpster. The police had stated that they will be looking through it as far as its contents. And they obviously, as you can see right here, have helicopter footage of a lot of this since they, you know, there is a lot of wooded area and trees. This is a 2-year-old child that is missing, so he could possibly be anywhere. Now, we are hoping that he is found healthy, alive, strong, and everything like that, so that his family that cares about him can aid in taking care of him, and they can grieve the death of Pashun Jeffery, Taylen's mother. Now, as I stated before, they did have a news conference at 2 p.m. Eastern, Friday, March 31st. The grandma of Taylen spoke, as well as, I believe, an auntie, about Taylen and Pashun. The police then spoke about Pashun's homicide investigation. Now, one thing that was said during it, and this is not nothing big, but they said that Taylen had a cell phone. First of all, I'm wondering, did they find that cell phone? A 2-year-old with a cell phone? I guess I've heard that type of thing maybe before with a little bit of older children, but a 2-year-old? But one of the family members made a statement about he liked to call his mom at work because it's alleged that the mother had moved out there recently, just a month prior, so that she could try to get her life together. Also, something that should be noted is Taylen goes by Tay or Glam. Now, I'm interested in, where does the father live? They seem to either not be aware or they will not say. The father is still in the hospital, but again, he will not communicate with police. So as you could imagine, this is an active crime scene. Some DNA tests are going on, as well as other tests. Some may be back before others, but some information, more information in this case and situation, should be coming forward as soon as possible, within days, hours, minutes even, at this time. Now, like I said, I'm very interested to see if there was any type of abuse between the victim, Pashun Jeffery, and the baby's father. Did the neighbors that night on March 29th hear any type of screaming or a baby crying? And why didn't they call police? The way our society is set up, a lot of people are either scared or just don't want to get in other people's business. However, I just myself could not be just sitting on the other end of the wall where somebody could be getting beat or murdered, or hear the sounds of a child screaming and just sit there on my hands and not do anything. Or after a situation like this is exposed and I may have personal information on it, like I saw or heard more than I told the police, and I'm quiet about it. I digress. Now, the apartments look really nice, but some of the reviews say that they had maintenance issues, gates were broken, but the apartments say that they're basically luxury apartments in a good location. 1 bedrooms ranging from $1,800 a month to 2 bedrooms ranging over $2K. Now, why is that important? Because apartments such as these should normally have some type of camera system to protect its residents. Now, really quick before we move on, let's get to some things that we know. The mother, Pashun Jeffery, was murdered inside of the apartment. There is a 2-year-old child missing named Taylen Mosley. The timeline is Wednesday, March 29th at 5:20 approximately p.m. Eastern Time. Pashun Jeffery and Taylen Mosley were last seen by a family member alive and well. Wednesday, March 29th at 8:30 p.m., a neighbor told the police that they had heard at this time commotion of some sort in that apartment, but the neighbors did not call the police. Wednesday, March 29th at 9 p.m., so the same day, father arrives to his mom's with his hands cut and his arms cut. He then goes to the hospital and he is admitted into the hospital. He will not talk to police. He is a person of interest and he is still in the hospital. Through the investigation, they did find a blood trail from the front door of the apartment to a blue car. It is unknown whose blue car that is at this time. Thursday, March 30th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, family members asked the apartment staff for a welfare check, meaning to get into Pashun's apartment to check on her since they have not heard from her at all. Because remember, the last time they had seen her was the day before around 5:20 p.m. and she was alive as well as with her son. It was at that point that they gained entry into the apartment of Pashun, discovered that Pashun had been brutally murdered in a gruesome crime scene, and that her son, Taylen Mosley, was gone. Now, I do want to share some crime scene information with you guys via the news. I do take notes and things like that, especially when I do videos like this. I do want to make sure that we capture as much as we can. I will be taking a look at this case going forward. If you know how I looked into Kanika Jenkins or even Malia Davis and several other children, you would know that I take cases like this serious. I did find this case as mainly it was breaking and kept my eye on it. I do have a video before this about this case. However, like I said, I will be checking on this case. It will be in the front of my mind as I hope that this child is returned home safely and, justice is served for the death of Pashun. It does appear to me at this time that Pashun's baby father obviously could have been the person that did this. And that is really unfortunate that it came to this. But I'm wondering, where is the child and where was the child during this homicide? I'm wondering how the doors were set up. This is a 2-year-old child, and I just don't think that he left this property by himself. There is a possibility that he could have, but At the end of the day, I'm wishing that he is returned back safely to his family so that his family can grieve the loss of his mother. But what I want to do is I want to share some information from the news. I want to show you guys the press conference because I'm analyzing this as we go, so we're learning together. But those are the facts in the case. So let's take a look at some more footage of this case and the press conference. This will actually be the second press conference in this case. The search for this child, as well as get into the press conference and possibly some other information that's coming out on the situation. I will meet you on the other side with some more commentary. Let's go.
St. Petersburg police putting out a press conference in minutes on an update regarding missing 2-year-old Taylen Mosley. Getting access here, folks. We're going to just kind of cut over here to the live podium that has been set up. So this just coming into the stream center here moments ago. JB here with you live in the stream center. And so this is from the scene of where Taylen Mosley disappeared from, as well as the scene where Pashun Jeffery, his mother, 20 years old, was murdered at some point on either Wednesday night or Thursday morning right here in Pinellas County, Florida. A press conference has been called for 2 o'clock Eastern time, which is in about 5.5 minutes from now. You can see that members of course, local media are there with the microphones up at the makeshift podium that has been set up. This is right outside of the apartment where Pashun's remains were found in what has been described as a violent and gruesome murder scene, as well as where Taylen Mosley was last seen. So the press conference is about to begin here in just a few minutes. We're getting ready to launch live across all platforms, currently live on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Saying hello again to our YouTube live audience, welcome back, and our TikTok live audience, welcome back. About to launch on Facebook Live momentarily once we get Chief Anthony Holloway up to the podium. We've also been told that speaking at this press conference will be Lakita Denson. That is the mother of Pashun Jeffery and the grandmother of the missing 2-year-old, again, Taylen Mosley, as well as Theo Brickhouse Sales, that is Pashun's great aunt, who will be speaking here as well. So this is likely to be a call to action, but we've also been told that there will be updates regarding missing 2-year-old Taylen Mosley, as well as on the homicide investigation into, of course, the death of his mother, Pashun Jeffery. So getting ready to launch live across all platforms. I'll spend a couple of minutes answering some questions from our YouTube live and TikTok live audience. You can use hashtag HeyJB and we can bring you into the conversation here. And also a big thank you to our moderators who are helping, of course, with our commenters who are just finding this news story, just finding this live stream. This is an extremely disturbing story. We're talking about a welfare check on Thursday that was performed right here at the apartment complex that you're looking at live on the right side of your screen. Apartment staff doing a door knock, going into the apartment and finding a gruesome murder scene. 20-year-old Pashun Jeffery found dead in what has been described as a violent homicide, and her son, 2-year-old Taylen Mosley, vanished, disappeared, and we have no idea where he is. There has been a non-stop active police investigation since. We have not gotten too much from police other than that the father is a person of interest, and of course that the father is not in possession of the child. So the child, Taylen Mosley, is not with his dad. As to where he might be, hopefully we get an update here in the next couple of minutes. So hopefully that answers some of the questions, including from Lil Miss K on YouTube Live saying, what do we know so far? We do know the timeline. Let's go over the timeline again. Wednesday night around Wednesday evening around 5:30 Eastern time is the last time mother and son are seen alive. Fast forward to 9:30 that same night, 4 hours later, a loud commotion, some form of a commotion is heard at the apartment complex by a neighbor. The neighbor doesn't call 911. It's a commotion, doesn't call 911. But the next day, family members of Pashun Jeffery and her son, Taylen Mosley. Family members get concerned. Let's just bring up audio here.
Lakita Denson will speak first. Chief will introduce her, and then Chief will give you some updates and a timeline of the case as we have it so far.
That is Yolanda Fernandez, who's going to be giving an update here. Here's Chief Holloway. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon, everyone. What I'm going to do first is introduce to you to the mother of the victim, and also the grandmother of Taylen that's missing, Ms. Denton.
We just want to say that Taylen is a beautiful little boy, and he's really loving and caring, and he's just very sweet, and he'll smile and laugh at anybody. And there's Amber Alerts everywhere. And you guys have seen them. I have people all over the country calling me about the Amber Alerts. So I'm asking everybody, if anybody, somebody saw something,
Please speak up.
So if you know something, say something. Help us get Taylen back. Taylen lost his mommy, so he needs his family right now. So we ask for your help in finding him. Somebody knows.
Somebody knows something. Please speak up. Somebody knows something. Somebody saw something.
And Pashun just
Taylen
some beautiful mom.
love to be with his family.
Does he have a
We
nickname?
miss him, Taylen.
Does he have a nickname?
We call him
Tay Tay.
Tay.
Yes, he will answer.
The
to-
glam. He answered the glam.
He answers to a lot of things. He's very
He's
smart.
always calling his mom on his cell phone.
Yep, always.
This is mom. They call each other all the time. She really loved Taylen.
Yeah, we don't
She
know. about
always
the
was
color.
there for Taylen. She calls on breaks.
Yep, and
Early in the morning, they FaceTime me early in the morning.
yeah, we're without words. We love Pashun very much, and we love
Very
Taylen.
much.
So we've lost Pashun. So we ask you guys to help us to find Taylen and to get him back, please.
Please help, please.
What was your daughter like? What was her personality?
She's very outspoken, always make you laugh,
Smile, smile all the
always
time.
joking,
Trying to rap.
Laughing.
always trying to rap, say.
Scaring you when you're not expecting it, always hiding behind
Like,
you.
yes, love to scare you all the time.
You know,
Ever since she was like 3-4 years old.
She was 20, but she's a loving kid, and she loved that baby. That baby loves
so
her.
sweet. I can remember Taylen was born. I was coming from Seminole, I working. He looked up at me like, I said, Taylen Mosley. And he said, huh? Closed his eyes. I said, okay. Glad me to go sit down now.
Yeah, and if he
But
calls
please,
for his
y'all,
19,
please.
that's me.
That she
Okay.
calls for you.
Yes. Like TNT.
What was your message
Your
you
daughter,
would
she's
send to
making a life for
Taylen's
herself?
father? He's been named a person of interest. Is there anything you would say to him or what?
There's
Please.
nothing we have to say. Okay.
Your daughter was making a life for herself, and so what she was doing, how she was making her way and making her way and making a life for she and her son. What was she doing?
Well, she had just moved. She was working at CVS. She had just moved out here. This was her first month that she lived here. And very happy to have a better place than what she had before. And for a 20-year-old, she was doing well. She wanted more out of life. And, we're without words.
Now, are you guys originally from the St. Petersburg area, or where was she? Where was she born?
She's from St. Pete.
Yes.
St. Pete.
Originally from St. Pete.
Just
What have you guys been enjoying last night and today? I know the answer is you're obviously looking for Taylen, but how are you enjoying that? Who are you contacting? What steps have you guys been taking to try and uncover anything?
We're just making sure that everybody is aware of the Amber Alerts, that it's showing up, passing it on Facebook, and in any other social media outlet, make sure that everybody sees it. And so it's very difficult because we're in a really grieving pattern right now, because we don't know where Taylen is and we've lost Pashun. So we're depending on the St. Pete Police Department, and all of you media to help us to find Taylen.
I'm sure you're all prayed up right now.
Oh yes, and we have prayed, and we've asked everybody else to pray.
I'm so sorry for your loss, and we're really hoping for Tay safe return.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone out there is watching this and knows where Taylen is, just what message do you give to that person?
Please bring Taylen home.
Say something.
He needs his family.
Home safely. He needs his family.
Because he's
he
missing
needs
his mother.
family. He's missing his mother.
So he needs to be around people who love and care about him.
He's missing
and
his
can hold
grandmother.
him.
His great, right? He's great.
When you see that Amber Alert out in his face being shared by people who might not even know him, what is that like for you to see that picture being shared everywhere?
Well, it's very difficult to continually see it, but we have to see it just like the Amber Alert ran across the cable system all night long. So a lot of people, it's difficult because we don't know where he is. And we want to know where he is, and we're glad that they're doing it so that we can have a possibility of getting him and getting him back. So
Perhaps you can give us a bit of an update here too. Do you have any idea what might have happened here at all?
we don't know.
So we're going to do everything in our power.
And thank you.
Please help
I
us.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chief Holloway will provide a timeline.
Okay. As you saw from her, it's very emotional. I'm going to give you the timeline again about what happened yesterday, then open it for any questions if you wish. And again, our two most important things right now is number one, to find Taylen and bring him home, and number two, to find out who killed Miss Jeffries. That's our main goal right now. This is all hands on deck. Every detective is working this case. I just briefed the mayor prior to coming here. I want to thank our partners that are out there. Number one, the St. Pete Police, the St. Pete Fire Department, the Clearwater Fire Department dive team, they're here. The Sheriff's Office, Pinellas County for bringing the aviation unit out here. Manatee for bringing out the K-9. Our partners at FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the FBI. So as you can see, everyone here is working on this case. So again, I'm going to go over the timeline that with you yesterday and more information that's come before us. So yesterday, as I said, the last time the family was seen around 5:20 on Wednesday afternoon with the family members, as you saw grandmother right here talking to them. Around 8:30 Wednesday night, someone said they heard a noise. They heard some type of noise that was out there. Around 9 o'clock, the father arrives at his mother's home, his hands are cut and his arms are cut. From there, he goes to the hospital and he admits himself into the hospital. The father is a person of interest, but nothing in our investigation, I want to repeat that, nothing in our investigation leads us to believe that he is a victim. We tried speaking to him and he's not talking to us at this time. So we're going to continue doing our investigation. The main thing that I want people out there to know is tomorrow morning, if there's any volunteers that want to come out, we're going to do a search at 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you just want to come to the location, we'll also put it up on our Facebook page on where you need to come so you can help us look for Taylen. And we're going to continue to do the search throughout our city. This is an ongoing investigation. As we get more information, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. And again, our goal right now is to find Taylen. So with that, I'll open it for questions.
Can you tell us anything about any other areas you're searching besides that lake?
Yes, we are looking at another location. We'll get that to you later on this afternoon. But we're going to start here because as you see, the crime scene is here. We're going to search this area, search the complex south of us. And then as we get more information, we'll ask these volunteers to join us in those areas also.
Can you run us back through the father? What time did you say he arrived? You said at his mother's house with his hands cut, or where exactly?
So around 9:15, he's at his mother's house. His hands are cut and his arms are cut, and then he admits himself into the hospital.
Have you been able to determine what cut his hands and his arms?
No, we have not.
And I guess following up on that, do we have a sense of kind of how Pashun was killed, and if so, has a murder weapon been recovered if such exists?
That's still part of our investigation.
Did the father live here at this apartment complex with her?
That I don't know.
Chief, we noticed that they're looking in the lake that is in the back, it's a great car. Did you guys have any deeds that lead to that lake? Why are they looking in that lake?
We're going to search this whole area, so that lake's part of this complex. So we're going to probably do like a mile radius search of that, and the lake's the first place we're going to look. Just maybe he walked away or something like that. But we want to make sure that we check everything in this area. We follow up on every lead that we can follow up. And that's another thing. If anybody has any information, you just heard from the grandparents and the uncles and the family members, please contact us. Let's bring the baby home. Let's get him home.
Are you going to be searching all the bodies of water that are around this complex, because there are several of them?
We are. The dive team's out there. Also, we're using drones, so the drones can do like a grid search, so we can cover more area. Because again, the helicopter is pretty high, but the drone can get pretty low and do a grid search.
Chief, can you give us any geographic reference as to where the mother lives in relation to this complex?
Yeah, right behind me, as you saw, you're talking the victim, the deceased.
No, the father, where he went.
I'm not going to give you that information at this time.
Now, how did you guys realize that the father had these cuts on his hands? Was that after a detective went to go interview him, or did someone else, of his family?
Through our investigative lead with some of the family members, we were able to find that out.
Have there been any previous calls to service here, any considerations?
Not one. This is, and we didn't get a call that night when somebody heard some noise. No one called us that night. The only time we came here is after the mother of the deceased. She called because, as she told you earlier, she FaceTimes her every day. So she didn't hear anything from her. She called the property manager here. The property manager goes to the deceased's home, and she finds a very violent crime scene. I want to make sure, a very violent crime scene. And that's when we started looking for the child. We didn't know there was a child until later on.
Was the door open? The property manager could go in, or how was when they walked in?
They had to. I'm assuming they had to unlock the door.
Is the father the only person of interest that you guys are looking at right now?
We're looking at everyone, but right now that we're looking, like I said, the father's a person of interest. But we're going to see what the investigation leads us and the evidence. We want to talk to the father again. We want to know where Taylen is, and we want the father, if he knows where Taylen is, to tell us. And that's what we want. We want Taylen.
Was he released from the hospital that night when he went, for those cuts? Was he released?
The father's still in the hospital.
He's still in the hospital.
Chief, does the father have any criminal history of violence?
To my knowledge, no.
On top of looking in the bonds and whatnot, the dumpster here was also taken last night. Was there just a precautionary reason for the dumpster? Why was the dumpster?
We're going to check everything. We couldn't look inside the dumpster last night, so we want to make sure we could take the dumpster to a location where we can search it very thoroughly.
Right now, the father's not speaking, though, is that right?
The father is not talking to us.
Can you say what hospital he's at?
No, I did not.
Chief, what time in the morning did the mom call on Thursday when she missed that FaceTime call?
She didn't call us. She called the property manager, so I have to get you that timeline. Yes. I'm sorry. So the grandmother didn't call the property manager until 2:30 p.m.
Okay, and
that's when they made entry into the home.
We have a lot of Ring cameras everywhere. I'm assuming you've mentioned surveillance video tracking. I don't know if there's some at the gate, but have your detectives going door to door found any sort of video evidence that's helping you?
They're still out there now, and if people that do have Ring cameras, if you see anything on there, please share that with us. We're looking at everything that we can find. We've got some pictures already where someone saw the blood trail early Thursday morning. So we're going to try to, that's what we're trying to piece together this timeline. So we know there's a blood trail early Thursday morning.
Where was that blood trail?
As you saw outside of the blood trail, right where they call it. Sorry.
How important is every minute?
Yes, so we'll be testing everything. Is it his blood? Is it her blood? Is it Taylen's blood? Those are all the things that we've got to look at.
How important is every minute when it comes to finding, the 2-year-old baby boy Taylen?
It's very important. We're coming up on 24 hours. 24 hours Taylen has been missing. That's why I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that people out there listening. We want to find this baby. That's our goal right now. Where is this baby? If someone has this baby, call us. Let us take this baby. Let us bring this baby back to his family. He's already lost his mom, so let's make sure.
How far out from this location do you expect to expand the search for this child?
We don't know right now. Again, like I said, we may do a mile radius, so right now we're just trying to figure out where we're going to start from. Okay?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Now, I do apologize about that audio. The audio that the police had put out, there was helicopters and all type of things, noises in the background. So I had to try to clean it up as best as I could. At times as well, it was very low. So anyway, let's continue. So at this time, Royal Family, this is all that we have. I will be watching this case as it unfolds. The information can change in the beginning. I am wondering why the initial timeline was about an hour off of what had originally come out and what they have now. However, as more information comes out, you know, they may have to clarify. Sometimes the news picks it up the wrong way. Sometimes they put it out the wrong way, or they're just not sure. But at this time, I hope that this child does return home to his family and he can begin to heal from what he possibly may have witnessed. We need to bring this child home. A lot of the times, like they say, I hate to bring these things up, but in these cases, a lot of the times when a child is gone like this, it's not a good look. But I hope this time we have a positive outcome in this case, in this situation. Now, I hope that more information comes out. Like I said, some of the testing, some of the information, as far as the crime scene information or other parts of the investigation will start to trickle out a little here and a little there. Some tests or things that they're looking at will come back. The information will come back on it a little bit before others, but we will be patient. I will be covering this case, Royal Family. This case really bothers me. This is just a little child and he could not fend for himself. Just the fact that the father of this child showed up at his mother's house roughly about 30 minutes after the neighbors had heard commotion in the apartment. Now, I wish they would have called the police, because at the end of the day, they could have possibly prevented this whole situation. Honestly, this is an apartment building and somebody had to have seen something, heard something more, or whatever. Like I stated, at this time, I don't want to start thinking about other things. I want to stay in the here and now, and let's hope that this child is found healthy and alive, and we can take it from there. Then we will be focused on the murder of his mother, which is very sad and unfortunate. I do have a lot of feelings about this case, and like I said, I will be following it closely. When the police referred to Taylen being gone 24 hours, that is also because that is when they became aware that Taylen was missing, as well as his mother was dead in the apartment. However, there's a possibility that she could have been killed a number of hours before that, which means that that wouldn't really be the original time of his actual disappearance. But this case is evolving, so where I was gonna wrap up the video, I have to continue, you guys, because the police have yet again come out with another press conference, this time at some type of police station or some type of thing like that. It's not in front of the apartment building, and the information that they are presenting is damaging. So let's get over there and see what's going on, and I'll meet you at the other side with my commentary.
It's with great sadness I have to inform you here today that Taylen's body has been found. It is my condolences going out to the family and to his loved ones. We are sorry that it had to end this way. Through investigative technique, we were able to find an area around Dell Home Park that led the investigators to that area. The detectives had been there all afternoon, and while they were there, they were spotted an alligator with an object in his mouth. As the detective got closer, they fired one round to the alligator. The alligator dropped the object that he had in his mouth, and we were able to retrieve Taylen's body intact. The father, Thomas Mosley, is now being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. I can tell you now that Taylen's mom, Miss Jeffries, her body was stabbed multiple times. Until the medical examiner has a chance to look at Taylen's body, we cannot tell you the cause of death. I would like to thank all the law enforcement agencies that assisted us today, or since Wednesday, and a special thanks to our detectives here at St. Pete Police Department. These men and women have worked tirelessly since Wednesday at 2:30 trying to find hoping for Taylen for a better outcome. But again, that didn't happen. Needless to say, tomorrow we don't need the volunteers to come out to assist us in looking for Taylen, but I just want to again thank everybody for volunteering to come out to help us. With that, remember this is an ongoing investigation, so I will try to answer some of your questions.
And after almost 2 days of looking for little Taylen, I know you've had so many crews on the ground searching, brought in, all hands on deck, like you said. I mean, this has got to be tough for your team to see things end like this after all your hard work.
It's very tough because these men and women, again, since Wednesday at 2:30, they've been working tirelessly trying to find Taylen. And we didn't want to find him this way, but at least we can bring some closure to that family now. Again, there's emotions up and down because as they're doing investigating, they're following up the leads that we were hoping that we could find him alive. So these detectives and these law enforcement agency officers, they go through a lot. And tomorrow, guess what? They got to start all over again doing something else. But my hat off to these men and women for being able to do this. At this time, we're not going to talk about that. Again, we're still doing this ongoing investigation.
If someone spoke with you at all, what was the reaction to once that alligator is shot, to seeing that as a human body that the alligator had, if the officer that found him was able to speak to that? I'm sorry, you were asking about... I guess, what was the reaction, to seeing the human body in an alligator's mouth after that shot was fired? Well, I can't tell you that. Just think about anybody. The officer sees a body of a child. What would be your reaction to that? What would you think? So that officer, he or she they've been working since Wednesday, and they see a child in an alligator's mouth. So they got to do their job, but at the same time, I can't tell you their reaction. I can tell you probably a lot of emotion went through their body, but they still had to do their job. How does one separate the job and the emotion, if that's even possible? These men and women do it each and every day. They come to work, they investigate a case. They got to put a case together to make sure that Mosley get convicted of this. So they got to do their job on that, and they do it. They do it quite well.
Chief, are those 2 counts of first-degree murder? Is that one for Pashun, one for Taylen, or what are those counts for? Is he charged with both of their deaths, or just Pashun's death?
He's charged with both of their deaths. 1 count for Pashun and 1 count for Taylen.
So the cause of death for the child is still pending, right? So we don't know if he was deceased before he went into the lake or after?
That is correct. So that's what we're trying to determine.
And then where is this lake in relation to the apartment complex?
So how far away is that?
It's miles.
It's several miles.
So it would have to be an intentional act, not like he just wandered out.
So let's just give you an example. Where the incident happened is way out on Gandy in 4, Lake McGorry is at 22nd South.
Is any Wydell Home Park, is that where the father lives?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and through investigation technique, we were able to zone in on that area.
And Chief, we heard that Mosley went to the hospital with cuts. Can you tell us if there was a fight back from Pashun, if she was stabbed by him?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and all I can tell you, like I said, when he went to check himself into the hospital, he had cuts to his hands and to his arms.
Do we know if he's still in the hospital?
He is still there.
Since your last update, has he said anything to you? Or has he said anything about it?
When the detectives went out and spoke to him, he didn't want to talk to the detectives, and then later on, he asked for an attorney.
You said police fired a round at the alligator. Have you taken the alligator in at all, or is the alligator back in the lake?
The alligator was killed.
Alligator was killed. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
So the police come back and say the alligator was attempting to eat the child. Police shot the alligator. In the water that they found the alligator and the boy's body inside the alligator's mouth was miles away from the apartment complex. So how did the baby get in those waters is my question. Is that why there was a trail of blood to the car Then the car was parked back in front of the apartment complex, leaving a trail from the car to the apartment where the mother was already murdered. Because in history, I've heard of children getting eaten by alligators, allegedly in Florida. I don't know, I admire the state, but I don't know firsthand. But I'm inclined not to believe that this baby just ended up walking out of this apartment and walking miles to this body of water. And that's probably why they are charging the father, Thomas Mosley, who is in the hospital but is getting charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Now, Pashun was stabbed several times, the police officer said. Cause of death will be figured out soon during autopsy and then released to the public when the police or the investigation deems necessary. Now, rest in peace to both victims, and I'm sending my blessings to the family and friends of the victims as well. But the fact that Thomas Mosley, the father of Taylen, did not want to speak about any of the events. He showed up to the hospital after showing up to his mother's house with cuts all over his arms and hands, and now he's in the hospital. But when he first got there, he didn't want to talk at all, and then now they find this child's body. This is so heartbreaking at this time, royal family. The fact that he didn't want to speak to detectives, the fact that he was so cold-hearted that not only did he kill his baby's mother, but he also really didn't care about his 2-year-old son. That's cold-hearted. I mean, really cold-hearted. To kill a 2-year-old, let alone your own son, to murder a woman. And again, nobody could tell me that they didn't hear any sounds in that house. They had to have heard it. This woman was stabbed multiple times. Now, we don't know the cause of death or where the child was stabbed in, or if he was even stabbed to begin with. If before he got to the body of water, he was already dead. But as the situation unfolds, we will continue to look into it. As you know, if you follow cases, a lot of the times there's an arraignment court, which is the first court date after arrest. So we will, be talking about this story to come much more. I do plan on hopefully going live here sooner or later, at least by Monday or Monday itself, but I'll continue to give updates on this case. Again, my blessings to the family and friends of both victims, Pashun Jeffery and Taylen Mosley, and I hope that Thomas Mosley gets what he deserves, the court deems necessary. Florida does not play about crimes like this, especially crimes like this involving a child. And again, how evil he could be to not only kill his own son, kill his own baby's mother, but just to kill a 2-year-old, period, is just pure evil. So we'll see what's going on, royal family. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if you liked the video, and also share on social medias if you can. I appreciate you guys. This situation needs to be investigated. It needs to be evaluated, and that's what we do in the true crime sector. We look at it. We do go off of the news, but a lot of the times it's common sense, and we might notice things that the news doesn't, or whatever. But anyway, stay you, stay royal, stay uncompromisable, and please stay woke, because you will see me or hear my voice in another upcoming premiere, live stream, or whatever. Much love, you guys. Bye-bye.